So to create the relationship so it has the same data type, right-click on the computers table, go to the design view, change it from short text to number. Be sure to save my work. And the problem that you run into, something you ought to consider, is that we already have data within that field. It says some data may be lost when you convert from one data type to another. A better example is that if you have a number with long integer you have in the millions and you change the field size to short integer, it's going to cut off the excess numbers so it goes down to the tens of thousands. And it's trying to tell us that here, that the size of one or more fields has been changed to a shorter size. And if data is lost, validation rules may be violated as a result. So it's not saying it's going to be lost, but it may be lost. It just depends on the data that we have in here, if it's going to truncate it or not. So I can say no and don't do that, close out and not save it. And since I don't have any records in the notes table, unless I want to start from scratch and rebuild this database up again, say okay, fine, we'll leave that as is and go to short text. So after I save it and close out, I can go ahead and click and drag the primary keys. Again, I want to be able to generate the values in a one-to-one relationship in the computers and not in the notes table, because not every computer is going to have a note. But I will have employees assigned to each computer, so I need to make sure that I get those computers in and I generate the barcode here and not with the notes, because every employee is dependent upon a computer and not every note's dependent on a computer, so I want to generate it where it makes the most sense. And enforce it, update it, click create, and there's my one-to-one. Okay, let's move it around so it looks, for those of us like me who are a little bit anal, we'll try to not have the relationships cross, because when you cross somebody in a relationship, they get kind of angry. Two more things really quickly. If somebody else wants to find out about the relationships you set up and they don't have access on their computer, where they can go ahead and look at your database or send them a copy of your database, you can generate a report form for the relationships by coming up here, clicking on the Design tab, going to the Tools group, clicking on Relationship Report, and there you go. To print it off, well, right up here on the Print Preview tab, go to the Print group, click on Print, and you're good to go. Let's go ahead and close out of that and not save it. And then finally, when it comes to creating relationships, you'll notice that I haven't clicked on the Save button at any time. Once you create a relationship, dragging from one field to the next, it automatically saves it for you. The only time that it's going to ask you to save is that when you're done moving your tables around is the layout. So if I go ahead and close out of here, it's talking about the layout. When I click yes, and I come back up here to the Database Tools tab, Relationships, click on Relationships, and let's go ahead and delete a relationship. Right click from the one-to-one and say yes, and then I go ahead and close out. It doesn't ask me to save it, right, because it automatically saves it for me when I delete or create the relationship. It's just a layout. So back to Database Tools, Relationships, Asset Tag to Asset Tag, Enforce, click Create, and then if I go ahead and move any one of these tables around, it'll update the layout, so it'll ask me to save when I close out, and I'll say yes.